Hello, kids. I decided to do a review of a old movie from 1979, something I never seen before, which is kind of unusual because I was pretty active. I and until COVID, I've been pretty much an active moviegoer since the early 70s. Of course, my mother would be taking me to movies, during that period, most of the 70s. Some a lot of times dropping off. But Nightwing uh, was released in 1979. I remember when it was actually released. I don't know why I didn't go see it. This is the type of movie I would normally go to. Uh, but it just didn't happen until recently when I got a double feature uh, Blu-ray for cheap. I have not watched the Shadow of the Hawk. I've really never heard of that one. I think that's another PG rated horror film. Yeah. Uh, and they both have a link in the supposed Native American mysticism, but uh, and there's right off the bat with the Nightwing, uh, it's the usual situation. Uh, non natives are playing natives. There are some actors who are natives. George Clutie, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He was also in the Mutant Bear movie Prophecy that came out, I think, the same year. I did go see that. I guess I'm more interested in mutant bears than bats, but yeah, it's the usual thing, and it's still going on. Uh, just ask Johnny Depp. But yeah, another thing that that bothers me was a credit. Uh, I don't remember the woman's name, but she was credited as Old Squaw by the late 70s. Despite my age, I knew that squaw was a derogatory term. But we take all that and we push it aside. And well, here's the movie. A sheriff's deputy, played by Nick uh, Mancuso. Uh, he's a sheriff's deputy on a reservation, a native, uh, an Italian man playing a native, but he starts coming in, to reports, scenes of sort of animal mutilations. They're not as mutilated as much as they don't have much blood left in them, and that's what kills them off. Uh, at the same time, we have David Warner, and I'm sure he would have liked this role taken off his resume. Uh, but he is tracking uh, vampire bats. He's supposed to be expert in vampire bats, but the science behind vampire bats in this movie is just about as much hokum as the mysticism, native mysticism they come up with in this. I have no idea if it's any link to anything real or within their culture or not, but it probably isn't. It's just suited for the story, and that leads to the mysticism. Uh, George Clutie, uh, I forgot the character's name, but he let's see if we have it. Abner. Yeah, he's a priest. Uh, he's not as popular among the other priests, as he would probably like, but he probably understood. But he preached about, like an end of the world type situation. He essentially conjured up or facilitated the bats coming into this area. Another a little bit of storyline is that there's a native businessman trying to sell this area, which is sacred land. Uh, I think there's oil. I can't. It was a couple weeks ago when I watched it, but that all that goes on and it kind of collides, and there's a little bit of aspect of Jaws with the native businessman, saying, "Oh, this isn't as bad as it seems," that type of thing. But most of all, with this, I mean, especially with the craziness of David Warner's character, and I'm not usually a fan of the notion of so bad it's good, but this movie just really is just silly, and at that level I actually liked it. It's directed surprisingly by a well-known director, Arthur Hiller. Uh, Not necessarily an auteur director, like a John Carpenter or whatever, but he had made he directed Love Story, a movie called The Hospital. I did see that many years ago. Some other comedies. Of course, he did Silver Streak, I believe. Not at all. I think he did Silver Streak, but yeah, he did a lot of well-known movies, and it's kind of a surprise that he would do a movie like this. But I don't know, maybe he liked monster movies. Uh, of course, as the effects go, it's probably about as good as they could do at the time. It does come off as kind of silly, uh, but that's part of the humor of this movie. Uh, and there's this nice, spectacular, uh, fire-driven ending. Uh, what leads up to it is David Warner hanging from a rope or something. He's caught, and he's above a huge pool of guano. I'm telling you, this movie is hilarious, and that's don't take it seriously. Check it out. It's a laugh riot. It really is. Well, that's the review. Little reminder: I do have a drawing contest thing going on right now, but uh, only one person said they'll do it, but hopefully more. But until next time, this is Charles T. Cochran signing off. Stay safe.